people of Reddit who are anti-weed. Why? I was a heavy smoker for 6 years. Towards the end, I was going through one once every 2 weeks. Cannabis numbed me from my mental health issues. Any mind-altering substance can aggravate pre-existing mental instability. And weed certainly did for me. My problem with weed culture is that people who are heavy cannabis users think it is completely normal to smoke every day, to depend on this substance whenever they experience hardship. It is a very unhealthy habit that is entirely normalized. If you have a bad day or a bad interaction and your first instinct is I'm going to have a shot of vodka that will help, you are not allowing yourself to process your feelings at all. It's the same thing for weed, but no one talks about it. Took me fucking years to shake off the years of weed I smoked. It's all personality. Not everyone that drinks becomes an alcoholic, but as a young kid I definitely was fed the line that it's not addictive and in a weird way good for you. Lots of pluses, but really did take over my life and personality. Anti-weed. Nope. Anti-smoke. Definitely. The smell and the smoke are both triggers for asthma and allergies. It's just as bad as cigarettes to me. I used to really love getting stoned, but eventually it got to the point where it just made me sad that I felt like I had to get stoned before I watched a movie, or played a game, or had a nice meal. I hated that I had a real fear that if I stopped I wouldn't enjoy those things anymore. January 1st, 2022 I decided to give it up, ate my last edible and didn't order anymore. I was undoubtedly a little more of a jerk for the first week or so, but then I caught myself laughing at a show and had this introspective moment of clarity where I realized I was still watching and enjoying movies. I was still enjoying food and games. It's been just over a year now and I don't really miss it at all, and I just kind of feel dumb about how important it used to be to me. I miss the ritual of packing a bowl and the act of puffing on a pipe, but I don't miss being high, truly. I still have dreams where I smoke cigarettes though. I don't think that will ever go away and I haven't smoked them in 5 years. Don't smoke cigarettes, kids. I'm only anti-weed for my personal consumption only. Why? Because I've smoked and eaten enough of it to put a down payment on 2 houses. I currently own not even 1 house. So I've decided to not use weed or any drugs moving forward to try and reclaim my life. I worked quite a bit as a teenager, multiple jobs, tons of overtime. From 14 to 22, I'm sure I made well over $100K, all while living at home with very few bills to pay. What do I have to show for it? Years of beating the shit out of my lungs and liver. Some of it helped pay for university, but the rest I smoked, drank, and ate. I'm for legalizing it, but I'm definitely against the normalization and minimizing the negative aspects. No, you don't drive better when high. No, kids and teenagers shouldn't be allowed to get high. No, you don't need to be high in order to enjoy normal things. No, it's not somehow better to be high at work than to be drunk at work. I am anti-secondhand smoke, regardless they are from tobacco or weed. I don't care if anyone smokes anything, but I care about the air I breathe, and I don't want to smell the secondhand weed, which smells horrible and is bad for my lungs. If you want to smoke, you should smoke in designated areas or your private place. I don't like people smoking in my general vicinity. Smoke is the #1 trigger for my asthma, and weed smoke is only slightly less bad than cigarette smoke in that regard. I also feel like people need to understand the risks of marijuana use before partaking, especially if their brains are still developing. Weed can trigger or worsen psychosis, paranoia, and anxiety. It's implicated in memory problems and reaction time issues, and there should absolutely be laws limiting its usage once it's legalized. No, you don't drive better when you're high. Personally, I don't consume marijuana because I have mental issues like anxiety and paranoia, and I've gotten a lot better with therapy. I don't want to risk backsliding and spiraling because of a stinky brownie. I wish that I had never started smoking. It ruined my life. It worsened my anxiety disorder and depression times a million. Made me overthink everything, get chronic dissociation, and destroyed my memory. I was addicted. I am 2 months sober from it after smoking for 5 years, and I feel better than I've ever felt before. Quitting weed saved my life. South Park put it best. It makes you okay with being bored and not doing anything, when you could instead improve yourself and push your limits and follow your dreams. Same as TikTok, phone games, and masturbation. All fine in moderation, but it's all too easy to waste your whole day with them. I am severely allergic to pot to the point where it hurts when I'm around people who are smoking. I came to college open-minded, and had a friend to let up a joint, and I literally left the room wheezing and they almost had to call an ambulance. It's really detrimental to my health as I am afraid to leave my house sometimes, and I live in a major city where it's legal and there are a ton of young people. Inhalers don't help, and I have been confirmed by a medical professional that I actually am allergic to marijuana. I am considering moving, so if anyone has any suggestions that could help me, that would be great. I'm not necessarily anti-weed. I think age and frequency of use are important. But 1. Smoking and inhaling anything including vaping is bad for your lungs. 2. Weed can be especially harmful to teens and young adults in a certain age range, and is strongly linked to an increased risk of developing psychiatric disorders, including schizophrenia, depression, anxiety, etc. Most weed advocates don't discuss, and may not be aware of the health risks associated with it. There are a lot of people advocating for its use and even its curative benefits for pain relief, cancer, and many other things, some of which it may help with. But most are unfounded claims since we don't even really know how it works to relieve pain or help with other things. It's still largely a mystery. Weed almost indefinitely leads to lung damage and mental health issues such as anxiety and depression. Also, in many areas, weed is illegal, so smoking it is not only bad for your health, but you can get punishments for taking it. It also can lead to a decline in personal productivity and motivation, as well as negatively affecting relationships and overall quality of life. It often leads to worse drugs and can lead to people doing bigger crimes. It can impair judgment and increase the risk of accidents and injuries. There's literally no benefits to smoking weed. Cannabis has medical properties, but you're getting none of them by smoking it or taking edibles. It ruins your mental health by making you unaware of the chemical instabilities in your brain. It ruins your lungs, it causes cancers, etc., etc. I have bipolar disorder, and marijuana contributes to instability. I recently had a hypomanic episode, and what was I doing in the weeks prior? Taking edibles and smoking bud. Plus, it just interacts badly with my medications. If THC can cause psychosis, and I'm on antipsychotics, maybe I shouldn't be taking marijuana. I realized that all illicit drugs cause these reactions because I don't know what I am doing. But instead I get ketamine infusions through my doctor to treat my depressive episodes. That shit actually works, and is still fun lol. I'm not anti-weed. I personally choose not to go down that path. But I don't judge anyone else if that's the choice they make for themselves. Just leave me out of it. And, please, if you're stoned, please do not attempt to drive a car. You're a shitty driver when you're stoned. Fun as hell to have a conversation with. But please don't pretend you're actually driving, because whatever it is that you think you're doing, you definitely are not. I don't have a problem when people smoke weed. The problem is that some of them aren't strong enough to decline stronger drugs. I don't think I ever met a person that went straight into snoring shit without smoking before. I'm honestly sick of smelling it everywhere. If I could make every public space marijuana free and make it so that you can only legally smoke it in a private setting, I would. I'm absolutely sick of smelling it everywhere. It stinks and it's disgusting. I love smoking weed. It gives me energy and makes me more creative, but I can't do it in public anymore with the confidence I had when I was in my 20s. In my 30s, I like to do it at home while doing chores because it makes chores fun and I can put on my headphones and rock out. I feel like nearly half of my life has been in slow motion because of weed. Slow learner, slow thinker, slow. The stoner identity and everything that follows with it molded me as that person. I've had enough. Now it's time to learn at normal speed without any mind-altering substance. Good luck me again and again. When I started smoking, it was only once every couple weeks. A couple of my roommates were smoking daily and had absolutely no problem with it. They were passing their classes, being actively social, and generally just living the good life. At the time, I was very much I can do anything anyone else can do kinda guy. And eventually I started smoking weekly, then every other day, and soon as much as they were. Except it completely debilitated me. I had no energy, was bored of everything, started developing social anxiety, and at my lowest became completely dissociative. If you've never dissociated before, just know it is the absolute last thing I would wish on anybody. I completely lost myself,